there. We didn't see you.
Welcome to Drama
With Llamas.
in Pajamas.
We are the Drama Llamas. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Athanasia. And we are classical actors who have been making art together for 13 years.
We are here with you today to help bring you into the world of classical theater. We hope to teach you how to understand mostly Shakespeare, but also classical playwrights and genres.
Remember, no one wrote a play hoping it would bore you. So we hope to help you not only understand, but to enjoy this work as well.
So, get comfy in your pajamas.
Grab your llamas
And let's do some drama!
It shall be suffigance.
Our watch, sir, have indeed comprehended 2 auspicious persons.
Is our whole dissembly appeared?
Yea, Mary, that's the aptest way. Clearly, it is difficult to understand what the llamas are saying.
Spoiler alert, that was Shakespeare making fun of people who use words when they don't know what they mean.
If you've ever heard or read
Out loud
something Shakespeare wrote and came across words you didn't understand, maybe even words you couldn't find in the dictionary, you're not alone.
In fact, it was so common to make up words when Shakespeare was writing that much of his audience probably hadn't heard them before either.
They understood even though they had never heard them before.
How could this be? Unfamiliar words were not a problem at all, and they don't have to be much of a challenge for you. They simply require a different approach to language than we use in the 21st century.
At the time Shakespeare's works were written, the early modern English language wasn't even 100 years old yet.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary website, early modern English was spoken between 1485 and 1714. I should probably mention that Shakespeare was writing around the 1590s through 1600 something. Look at the dates on the plays. In this period, the English government became more centralized and the printing press spread across the English Channel from the European continent.
At the beginning of this period, both England and Scotland had a lot of regional dialects. For those who don't know, a dialect is a different version of the same language that has so many differences in vocabulary and sentence structure that the speakers of one dialect struggle hard to understand speakers of the other. Fun fact, according to ChatGPT, the definition of dialect is: a dialect refers to a specific form of language that is unique to a particular region or social group. It involves differences in pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and syntax from the standard form of the language. Dialects can be based on geographical areas, socioeconomic groups, age groups, ethnic groups, or other communities.
If AI can learn all those new words and put them together correctly, you're going to be fine.
Hashtag true facts.
In Shakespeare's England, it was getting easier for people who spoke different dialects to meet each other because more people were leaving their towns for trade or for their jobs. William Caxton, the first printer in England, told a funny story about the struggles of understanding another dialect. 2 merchants...
Both alike in dignity.
Iambic pentameter was last time, Ashley. 2 merchants...
No, you skipped that episode. Go back and watch it.
2 merchants sailed down the Thames from London. On their way to their destination, they stopped at a farmhouse in Kent. Being hungry, Merchant 1 asked for some eggs. The woman who owned the house didn't understand him and said, "Sorry, I don't speak French." This was frustrating to Merchant 1 because clearly he was speaking English. Merchant 2 walked up to the table and said, "Could I please have some eyren?" The woman understood him, went to her pantry, and brought back eggs. William Caxton ended this story by saying, "Lo, what should a man in these days now write? Eggs or eyren? Certainly, it is hard to please every man because of diversity and change of language.
Oh. You can guess which dialects survived to the present day. In fact, since English was a baby language, it was often seen as inferior to European languages like French or classical languages like Latin. One story from this time period has one character say to the other, "English is a language that will do you good in England, but passed over, it is worth nothing." His companion says, "It is not used then in other countries?" To which the answer was, "No, sir."
Today, English is the most widely spoken language in the world. And when someone is speaking it, you should always let them finish their story. Almost 1.5 billion people could understand this video. This is more than either Mandarin or Hindi. That's even surprising to me, but someone from the early modern period would have been gobsmacked.
Since English was a baby language, people made up words all the time in order to properly convey what they were feeling. This helped expand the vocabulary. Everybody had a different opinion on how to expand the English language. One thought was to take words directly out of other languages and squish them into English grammar. For example, the word alias is a word taken from Latin without changing it at all. Others took foreign words and riffed on them. For instance, clemency and participate have Latin roots and English suffixes.
Another example is assassination. We'll let you guess who made that up.
Shakespeare. But some people hated this trend, thinking the regular familiar English should be fine. They insulted these borrowed and made up words as inkhorn terms, meaning they just came out of a writer's ink quill. Examples of these pure English terms include on writing for inscription and naysay for negation. As you can see, a few of these stood the test of time.
So, you are sitting at the Globe Theatre, standing if you were poor, about to watch Shakespeare's latest play. How do you know what they are saying? If you were from London, you would know more of the words than if you were from out of town. But in any event, the actors would be speaking at the same time as they were acting. So you could tell from context what words meant, even if you had never heard them before. This is a skill we often use as children when we don't have a large vocabulary. This is a skill we can use again. Watch as an actor delivers this line from Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. Can you guess what she is saying?
What wouldst thou have of me?
Good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that I mean to make bold withal, and as you shall use me hereafter, dry-beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine about your ears ere it be out. Did you get all that? Let's take a look at the first odd word, withal. That I mean to make bold withal. Mercutio is saying he will use one of Tybalt's 9 lives as a dare to kill him or like a show of strength. Withal is a word that parallels the preposition with, to give emphasis or clarity to what is being discussed. It has many shades of meaning in Shakespeare, and over time, you will become intuitive with it.
Another word that might be unfamiliar is dry-beat. Most importantly, don't use the Urban Dictionary definition. Sometimes Shakespeare was inappropriate, but this isn't one of those times. If the word isn't unfamiliar, consider this an example of a word that meant something different in Shakespeare's time than it does in our own. In this context,
She's up here.
In this context, it means to severely kick someone's butt. It is a schoolyard bully threat.
Moving on. A pilcher is the scabbard for your sword or the holder for your sword, and ere means before. The use of the word ears here is a play on words. He is comparing the hilt of a sword. So you've got your sword, it has 2 points on the end, and he's comparing it to the ears on your head.
Looks like this.
That's the hilt.
Yep.
So, when Mercutio says, "Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears, ere it be out." You could paraphrase that as, "Are you going to pull out your sword from the scabbard? Hurry up before I get mine out and get you at the ears."
As you might have noticed, the toughest times come when Shakespeare used a word that meant something different in his time than it does today. If I said, "I don't have the stomach for this," you might think I felt queasy or nauseated because I was uncomfortable. But in Shakespeare's day, stomach meant more appetite or taste. Saying, "I don't have the stomach for it" then would have meant, "I am not attracted to this," or "it doesn't please me."
What if I told you I was unfriended?
Oh.
That sounds a lot like a neologism, or new word. Who do you think came up with that? Mark Zuckerberg? Would it surprise you to learn that it was Shakespeare? This word was actually first used in the 12th Night, Act 3, Scene 3. Antonio has just saved Sebastian's life. Sebastian wants to go on his way and trouble Antonio no more, but Antonio doesn't want him to leave and says, "But jealousy, what might befall your travel, being skilless in these parts, which to a stranger, unguided and unfriended, often prove rough and unhospitable." The word unfriended then meant that you didn't have any friends yet. Today, it means you clicked unfriend on social media because you don't want to be friends anymore. It changed from a pre-friend to a post-friend phenomenon.
As you can see, we continue to make up new words every day. And it is pretty obvious what they mean without explanation. We tend to turn nouns into verbs a lot. We Google things. And an adult isn't something you become anymore. Rather, adulting is something you can fail at. But even when you fail at adulting, you are succeeding at helping the English language grow and expand, just like Shakespeare.
If you are already understanding new made-up words from context every day, you shouldn't be afraid to try it while watching a Shakespeare play. Your interpretation might be right.
But if you don't have the benefit of actors to watch, you might need help from a Shakespeare lexicon. These are special dictionaries that contain all the words and different word meanings that Shakespeare uses but are unfamiliar to us today. It's a great resource for when context isn't helpful enough, or when you have to be quite precise because you are playing the role and providing the context for others. Since we have conveniently turned nouns into verbs in contemporary English, you can find these online by Googling them.
Heads up, when you are looking for context, sentence structure was a lot more flexible in Shakespeare's day. Today, a sentence usually goes subject, verb, object, adjectives always go before nouns. If you've studied a Romance language or an inflected language, Shakespearean sentence structure will come naturally to you. If not, you can still figure it out. Just pay sharp attention. We'll give you tips in another video. Stay tuned.
So, we've been in our head a lot today. Next time, we are going to talk about how to feel Shakespeare in our bodies. Anyone can do this. Neither hearing nor speaking is necessary. Prepare to experience words as you never have before.
Until next time,
Save thy drama for thy llama.
And please remember, if you like our vibe,
There is that button that is called subscribe.